Bulgaria edition. I haven't done one on the road in a while, but Tri just took this little baby microphone to Cancun, and now it's made its way all the way over to Bulgaria with my Canadian boys, Will Hoey and Jake MacNeil.
Just a little baby microphone on the road, eh? Not bad.
This is the office, so this is what it's like to write a podcast about beach volleyball.
Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Super excited. We've heard your podcast a couple times actually, so we're excited to finally get on.
Yeah.
I know that Mom listens to it back home occasionally.
That's
so
awesome.
Big shout out, Mom. She's a massive beach volleyball fan, and so she'll be fired up to listen in for sure.
Yeah, we've had a decent amount of Canadians. We've had Heather and Brandy. Well, Brandy we've had on. I don't know if Heather's made the cut yet. They're out.
It's a pretty select crew.
Because she's not. Yeah, it's select. For M&M shirts only. Will. We had Sam and Sam. I think have been on twice.
Oh, okay.
And Grant and Ben made an appearance, and now we got the big dogs. Quite literally, the big dog. Officially 6'10" and a half.
That's
barefoot.
Me. Yeah. Barefoot. Yeah, important location.
Yeah. So for our listeners, me and Adam have trained against Jake and Will the last 2 days, and then so by the time this comes out, we've already competed in Bulgaria, but this is the day before competition, and Adam, of course, having to be as specific as possible, is like, well, how tall are you barefoot?
Barefoot.
Needed to specify if it was barefoot or not.
And then I said, what, you don't want to know how tall I am barefoot? And he didn't seem to care as much, weirdly enough.
Yeah. But you guys, so this is what, like week 3 on like kind of a potentially unlimited road trip for you guys.
It's week 4.
Yeah,
week 4.
So we hit up the Cancun bubble. We hit the third event there. Went there. That was really beautiful. It was a good event. Tons of good teams. It was pretty cool to just be like walking around and you just see like kind of legends of the sport, like obviously Phil, and then like Ali Son just like lounging by the pool or like walking around. So that was really cool experience to just be able to kind of be there and be a part of that and just learn kind of from that. And then we went and trained for 2 weeks in Florida with our buddy LT. So we kind of got to live the Florida lifestyle a little bit, which was pretty cool.
How'd you like it?
It was amazing. And then now we caught up here with you. So
yeah. So was that your guys' first 4-star Cancun?
No. So I played 4-star back in 2018. Me and my old partner Liam, we went out to Espino, Portugal.
Okay.
And then that same year, almost qualified in the Vegas 4-star that was going down.
Okay. You and Liam again?
No, me and Yvonne Recca.
Okay.
And then
Who took you guys down in Vegas?
we lost to Slankovics and Rudel.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a sick game.
Real tight game.
Okay.
That was a hilarious tournament to play at. The sand was just super jumper's beach.
That was crazy. Did you play in that one too?
No. I played in a few other 4-stars.
Yeah.
And have yet to get through one of the dangerous 4-star qualifiers. I've been through 3 3-stars though. I've qualified for 3 3-stars. 2 with old player Cam Whelan, and one Will and I got through in Edmonton. But no, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to Vegas. I had mono at the time. Will and I were supposed to actually go together, but then he picked up Ivan. They ended up having a really good result. So it worked out for him.
Is that the same Selankowicz, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Is that the same one who's just like eliminating every American team possible?
Yeah.
That's right. They were just in Mexico.
Holy
that exact
shit,
that
they
exact
played
team.
good.
Yeah, that exact team actually.
Putting them in the coffin in
Yeah.
Mexico, yeah.
And
that
then
was tough.
he threw his back out, I think, in the third tournament after
really?
that. Yeah, unfortunately
he went
went down.
with an injury.
Damn.
In one of the matches.
Because I was watching him play, I think, Phil and Nick, and that serve is insane.
Yeah.
His like hybrid jump, whatever he's got going on. I was like,
He's a
"Jeez."
baller. We actually
one of the best hand setters I've seen, in my opinion, in the game.
Really?
Yeah, we actually got to play him. That's who we played to qualify in Edmonton. Actually, in the second round, we played him. He wasn't with Rudol. He's with the kind of younger Polish guy, but still a good player. And you played him quite a few times, Will. Actually,
Yeah.
Is it a different Rudolph who's here?
Nope.
Or is it the same
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the Polish guys they'll switch up partners a lot more often.
Okay.
I think partially, I don't know, all the best to Slankovics, and hopefully he can get back on the court soon. But they move around partners a fair amount, just to get experienced players with younger players.
Yeah.
Share some points, share some insights. It's a good system. That seems the way they do it.
Yeah, I feel like everyone except like Cantor and Losiak, they've been playing together since they were like 14.
That's right. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
No kidding.
Yeah, so much different than in Canada. Kind of like guys, once they get to the end of the line, they more just phase out of the sport. Like they continue to play a little bit domestically, but they're done on the road. So it's unfortunate that a lot of points just go to die.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out ways to do that, and some of the guys who are at the end of the line, kind of in the program now, realize that that's a thing that's going on. So we'll see how that shakes down in the next 4 years.
Yeah. How old are you guys?
I'm 26.
Yeah, so I just turned 25 May 1st.
Oh man, I didn't realize you guys are so young. Okay, so you're like.
Well, I mean, tough to hear that we're still young when guys like Mole and those young Swedish guys are rolling around.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's really funny because in the U.S., like everyone's so old.
Well, I think it's just a different mentality, right?
No offense, Adam. You look great.
Yeah. Still does look great. That's true. No, but I just think it's a bit of a different mentality over overseas versus here, right? Like, I always find it funny when I hear the USA teams being like, oh, like here's our next young and up and coming blocker and
it's like 33.
defender, and he's done 4 years of uni, and he's just played pro indoor like 2 years, and now he's coming out, and we've kind of started to take the same model in Canada just because it's tough to just the like level of maturity I feel like that you need to be able to be on the road and kind of deal with all these things, especially when it's not severely funded like some of these teams overseas where they have 4 or 5 coaches with them for a 1-star or even like so I think that it's a decent model, but you young in Canada and US versus young in Europe, it's pretty funny how like vastly different it can be, right?
And I think a big part what Jake just kind of touched on with like traveling and whatnot, they get in at least in the US you have a lot more tournaments around just like as a young athlete coming up.
Yeah.
They might not all be like the highest level, but at least like you're getting a lot of matches in. Where in Europe they do a much better job of getting young athletes meaningful matches. Yeah. So like starting at like 16 and beyond, like those guys, they're playing in series tournaments with good structure and like, playing a good system. Whereas in Canada, at least, like for sure, we don't have that established, and I think you guys for a lesser degree.
Yeah, they got the
you guys have a lot more AVP events where guys can just be amongst the pros and like learn how to ball and like come up that way, and then that transfers really well over to the FIVB. Yeah. Like a guy like Troy Field just pops out of nowhere, right? Yeah. And like earns his dues on the AVP and then shows up on the FIVB just ready to go. Right. Whereas in Canada, a lot of times you send guys to the FIVB to learn how to play. Yeah. So
that's like a different
baptism by fire.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
that's what it's been. Yep. But it is what it is. You play the game. You try to win more points.
You get to travel around the world playing the sport we love.
It's pretty sweet.
You can attest to, it's not a bad gig. Like you just said, the office is not bad. I mean, not as luxurious as you, where you can just sit, write, do your job from here, big dog in us.
Normally I stack the pillows up and now and then I'm writing.
Just big dog in us, contract here. Oh, you want me to write something for you? Yeah, give me the cash,
So how are you feeling with this one? This isn't your first FIVB, or it is?
No, so I played, my first one was actually oddly enough a 3-star. Okay. Because I played in 3 Norsekas.
You were in China.
Whereas, as Canadians pronounce it, Norseka. Don't know what the proper way to do it is.
It's a hard E.
But so I played in 3 Norsekas and built up some points. And me and Mike Bogue were able to like sneak into the 3-star qualifier in China because like no one ever really wants to go to China. And it was like in October, November.
For a couple of reasons.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, we might as well just sign up, see if we get in. And we were like the dead last seed. We beat a pretty good Israeli team. You guys might have saw them in Cancun.
Oh yeah, they're not bad.
And then we had to beat Japan's ones, and we won like a gnarly battle, like 16-14 the third. Sweet. So we qualified, and I was like, oh great. And then we got
playing defense there.
Bogue.
Oh yeah, you're running.
We were playing side out. Yeah. We were playing side out and serve tough. Bogue's his game. It's funny because like his game is way better suited for the international game because it's a much more power driven game, and he can dig a hard driven. But I mean, I'm not the biggest block, and he's not the fastest guy. So if you're ever playing me and Mikey again, you should probably shoot.
Let the cat out of the bag.
But we played him. I played him, but he played with. Who was he playing with then?
Maybe Tim Brewster.
Yeah,
usually it's
he was out
international
with
stuff.
Tim, and you guys were all kind of switching around for those Norsekas for a little bit there last season, right?
Or maybe he might have been with was he with Joyner?
He was a Joyner.
Yeah,
he was a Joyner, yeah. And I was weirdly enough playing with Liam, another defender. So, because Big Will hurt himself, so we had two. We were playing them. I think it was the semi-final, we were playing for bronze, and it was me and Liam, two defenders against two blockers. Yeah. We were like, should we just maybe split up and see what?
This is gonna be a way better game. Like, one little change.
But I mean, Liam's a pretty high flyer. He was still doing well at the net. So
flies.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
But yeah, we snuck into that, made main draw, which is my first FIVB tournament, first main draw ever.
1 for
1, and then I went from China to Israel. And we started, me and Tim Brewster were playing. We were like the 4
double
seed.
lefty, dangerous duo.
Double lefty. We were like the 4 seed in the qualifier. Ended up going straight into main draw because people didn't show up.
Nice.
And which, I mean, you guys are sitting in that same spot.
Yeah.
So let's knock on wood for you guys. So we ended up taking 5th, and then me and Adam took a bronze in the Cook Islands.
Oh, yeah, that was
awesome. And Liam and Alex Russell were there.
They were there. They were saying it was this awesome event, and everybody there was so nice, and that it was pretty hilarious, just amazing accents and everything. I heard the reffing was pretty funny, though.
It was basically, honestly, it felt a lot like a Norsika.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, it was really lax, and the rules were we don't but it was one of the prettiest places I've ever seen.
Yeah, man, they've been throwing these 1-stars in some awesome places.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been seeing Travis's stories and everything. The courts, you're just playing and you just have this beautiful mountain in the back there, and super awesome places. I remember we played one in Turkey. We're kind of Turkey kind of thing. Get there, beautiful venue,
really?
Super nice hotel. We're staying at this luxury, so they've done a good. The FIV has done a pretty good job of all the 1-stars that I've been to. With, it being pretty well organized, and actually ended up finding nice pockets in these countries.
For sure. I think part of the goal with the 1-stars, with how cheap it is to put it on, is to get it in new places. So it's kind of funny that my last 3 FIVBs that counted for points have been in countries that are hosting their first FIVBs.
Right.
So I was in Tel Aviv, which was its first FIVB, Cook Islands, first FIVB, and then here.
Yeah, it's just trying to expose the sport, I guess, and get more people playing, more eyes on it worldwide, which
it's working.
It can never be bad for the sport, for sure.
Yeah, and so if you look at the rankings for the men's side, it's all the top teams in the world are if you're not a beach volleyball fan, you tune in the Olympics, you're well, I'm not betting on Norway to win in beach volleyball. Do they even have beaches? It's frozen all the time. It's why would I bet on Russia? It's cold there too. Latvia's freezing all the time.
Canada gets that question all the time. I got that question when we were in Florida twice in the car rental line. It's where do you guys play? You don't have beaches.
Yeah. And it's funny because you guys have so many beaches.
I wouldn't say so many, but there's enough.
You have coasts.
Yeah,
we got a lot of coasts.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. A lot of it's pretty northern though.
We got Lake Ontario, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then of course beautiful British Columbia has the ocean and Kitts Beach there, which is just unbelievable vibe. We were talking to you about it earlier.
And then Nova Scotia's been known to set up a parking lot or two. Just dump a bunch of sand and let it roll. But we get it done.
Well, I mean, what's it like trying to get into beach volleyball in Canada? Because I mean, obviously, it doesn't seem like there are an abundance of players to choose from. Which you always see American players switching partners all the time.
Yeah.
But generally,
we hold
it's just
a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I feel it's kind of interesting because both Will and I have pretty good stories. I'll let Will go first, but just of the 2 ways that you kind of get into volleyball in Canada. So I'll let Will go ahead.
Yeah. So
tell his.
The way I started was we all. I mean, we kind of started the same way. Every Canadian kid, until you either make the decision to stop playing hockey or the decision's made for you. For me, the decision was made for me. Grew just way too fast. Wasn't able to compete anymore.
Yeah.
So I switched over to volleyball. Played indoor for 3 years because indoor is a big sport in Canada because we just can't play outside for long.
Yeah.
And then was kind of recruited by one of the provincial team coaches. So I started playing beach volleyball indoors.
Okay.
My first 5 months of beach volleyball was played indoors, controlled settings, depth perception is easier, and you don't have to deal with the wind, you don't have to deal with the heat. my first ever outdoor beach volleyball tournament was my U19 World Championships trials.
Okay.
And I was playing with a guy that I hadn't met yet. He was from out west, like needed a partner as well too. It was like a week after indoor nationals, so like really hadn't had any time to get ready. My first practice outdoors went abysmally. And
what is this wind?
Yeah, I remember at the end of the practice, and like we just kind of like sat down with the coach that we had there. She was like, "Great, well, like tournaments tomorrow. Like anything else you want to work on?" And the guy looks at me. He's like, "Yeah, can we teach this guy how to set?" Like, this is gonna go well. Like, yeah, I'm excited. So it ended up like tournament went okay. I certainly didn't have many skills. Like I was in the middle my whole career.
Yeah.
So you just kind of put the big pile in the middle, tell him to put his sticks up, and set him a ball or two. So beach obviously a lot more demanding, but so that's kind of how I got into it, and then from there just like loved the challenge of it.
Yeah.
Did well in that tournament and was selected to go be Can 2 at that U19 World Championships.
Okay.
So went from there, and then
Who'd you play with?
Liam.
Okay. So you guys go way back.
Liam was my guy. Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a pretty quick exit. We also like tough tournament for us. We had Brill in our pool. We had Cora in our pool.
Who was Brill playing with?
I can't remember, but really crafty guy.
Okay.
They ended up winning that tournament.
Oh, okay.
And then Martin Cora, the young Austrian guy, him and his partner finished 4th. And then the fourth team in our pool was Bennett Bird, Riley Mallon. Young. I don't think either of them play anymore, but American guys, and we dropped them in 3. So it was a early exit for us, but we felt that we showed well enough.
Yeah.
And kind of fell in love with the sport from there. And
say, how was it? I feel like that could have gone 2 ways.
Yeah.
Like you could have been like, holy shit, this is intimidating, or
absolutely.
like, wow, this is pretty dang cool.
Absolutely. So there is a lot of talk about that, like obviously like young, like physical blocker. I remember Kim Schalk made an objection, just being like, you're gonna throw this kid into the fire, and like, how is this gonna go?
Yeah.
Like he's probably gonna hate the sport. Didn't end like. I'm not sure how, but ended up falling in love with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how.
Yeah.
The sport's second to none.
Right.
With the people you get to meet, the places you get to see, and just the commitment you have to make for yourself to get better, I think is special.
Yeah. So Will found his way via hockey. No more hockey. Let's try something else. He said you had the second route.
Yeah, the second route, which is obviously so the beginning of it's the same. So I was also a hockey player, but I was quite a good hockey player. I played AAA growing up. Played against a lot of the guys that are actually in the NHL now. I've played against McDavid and Marner and like a lot of the kind of superstar players in the NHL, and it was quite good. But my sister was an amazing volleyball player, like very, very good. And I think that's kind of the other way in Canada that you get to play volleyball is, you have an older sibling that played or somehow got looped in, or, you be super tall like Will and fall in love with the game. But for me, I was in a middle school, and my middle school teachers came up to me and said, like, oh, I'm your sister's club volleyball coach. Like, she's amazing, like, I hear you're a pretty good athlete. Like, we want you to come play for the, like, middle school team.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't play volleyball. Yeah. I'm not doing that. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. And she said, okay, but if you make the team, like, you miss a bunch of days of school. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. Like, I'll be there. No questions asked. So that's why I started playing. I was like, man, this is pretty exciting. So I kind of got into club, got into indoor, like Will was saying. And then for beach, they used to, like, my sister would come and watch my hockey games. So I would go to the beach and watch her beach volleyball tournaments on the weekends. We have, like, a pretty decent, like, OVA circuit back home, like, for kind of younger players. And I was like, looking around and seeing kids my age playing. Like, why am I just sitting here? Like, I'm coming anyways. I'm at the beach. Like, might as well jump in there and start playing. So I called up one of the guys I used to play baseball with, and neither of us had played volleyball really, except for like in, middle school, high school kind of stuff. And we were like, all right, like, let's try this out, and just absolutely fell in love with it, and just have been in love with it ever since. My sister went and played in college and in the States actually, and I just kind of slowly it was getting like, hockey was getting more and more pressure because as you go along, and I got a call from like an OHL scout, which is kind of like the thing below the NHL, and they said, hey, we kind of are interested in like possibly looking at you as like a future prospect, like, and so I had to and they were like, but no more volleyball. Like, we can't have you rolling an ankle, or like it's 2 different strength conditioning programs, like all those things, which like when you're investing in an athlete at that young age, like they do, I guess it's kind of fair, but it makes it a very difficult decision at a really young age.
This podcast is also brought to you by our good friends over at Wilson Volleyball. You guys know the drill. The AVP plays with Wilson Volleyballs. You know why? Because it is the absolute best volleyball in the game. The college game plays with Wilson. Even the German tour is playing with Wilson Volleyball. Wilson is taking over the world, beginning on the Castaway Island with Tom Hanks, and they're not stopping until they get the whole beach volleyball world. So do your part and use our discount code SANDCAST-20 to play with the best beach volleyballs in the world. All right, that is SANDCAST-20. It's almost summer again. Time to get your refill of volleyballs. So use our discount code SANDCAST-20 to get 20% off of all Wilson volleyballs. And now, back to the show.
So I was like having to kind of decide between the two, and you know, if you ask my dad, he's still not too thrilled about the whole thing, but you know, I was going to U19 Worlds and Youth Olympics. We had like won the trials to go to those things, and we actually, me and my beach partner at the time played your outside hitter from the national team, TJ Del Falco.
Okay.
And we played them in the finals in Puerto Rico to qualify we beat them to go to Youth Olympics.
See, that's a good win on the resume right now.
Not bad now, looking back at it. At the time, we had no idea who it is, right? But this guy just with the whippiest arm, just crushing balls.
Cranks balls.
I mean, we served his partner, but we still got it done. So I had those things going for me. So it was kind of like, at that point, I was like, kind of putting 50% into both things at that point, and I knew that I had to kind of make a decision, and that was kind of when I made the switch. And now, you know, sometimes when we watch hockey games, Dad still like gets a little worked up about it, but he supports me a ton now, and I think it was the right decision for me, just because I was so in love with the sport. So
it is tough to have to give up something like that you're super passionate about, though. I mean, that couldn't have been an easy choice.
No, it was really, like, we sat down, we had a big kind of family meeting and talked it over, and at the end of the day, though, I was a very talented hockey player. I didn't love hockey the same way that I love beach volleyball, and my mom was really big in being like, yeah, you go play hockey, you make it, whatever, but are you going to put in everything that you need to do to become an NHL player anyways if you don't love the game? Like, probably not, right? Yeah. Like, I love spending every minute at the beach, like, and like all the other small stuff that you have to do that maybe isn't as fun, you know, the conditionings, the workouts and stuff. It makes it worth it just because of how much I love to be on the beach and play, right? So I think at the end of the day, it was a very difficult decision, but I think it was the right one. I have like no regrets looking back. So
So I think like we were kind of talking about this at dinner, but the process of like climbing the ladder in different federations is so different.
Yeah.
So you guys have been in the system since like U19s.
That's when we played our kind of first first events, but we have an interesting system, kind of similar to your guys' system on the NORCECA tour.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of win your way onto the NORCECA tour here in Canada, which is a great system in terms of it gives everybody an opportunity to make it, but it also is tough when you're asking 17, 18, 19-year-olds to beat your top, you know, your third or fourth team that's 25, 26, 27, and because we didn't have a ton of teams when we were younger playing like actual like world tour events. Like we had a few really good ones, but we kind of got to a point where we were like, what do we do like now kind of? So we had to find some creative ways to kind of get international experience to get better for ourselves. I actually was talking to Adam about this earlier where I played Seaside and big shots and kind of and that's what the route me and my partner took, because we were like, how are we going to learn how to play internationally without having the opportunity to play internationally? Because now it's a really good system to have these 1-stars and everything, but back then that wasn't really the case, right? There was like what were they called? Grand Slams and Opens or whatever. So it was pretty tough to get on. So it was really an interesting pathway that you're talking about. So
what is the NORCECA qualifying system for you guys?
So we host a few tournaments a year, spaced out. One's normally in February, one's beginning of the summer, and then one's in September area.
Okay.
And so if you it's just a in-house tournament.
Yeah.
And if you win or you come second, then you get the right to go, and then they play out the third, fourth, and fifth game just because. So if I'm not sure if the Americans have the same system, but if you don't get a fifth or better, or average a fifth or better over your events, then they drop you off and they pull up the next
interesting.
team.
Okay.
So it's a lot of pressure to go to that NORCECA as well too and perform.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you lose your quarterfinal, you're in a tough spot. Like if there's 3 events in a row back to back,
yeah,
they let you hold on to it for those 3.
Okay.
But if you once again, if you're not averaging a fifth or better, then you're kind of dropped off.
Okay. Damn. So ours is a little different because we usually, if there's say 2 or 3 NORCECAs like kind of within a close date, then we'll have one qualifying tournament that'll qualify you for all 3.
Yeah.
But we'll play out through all the places because what happens in the U.S. is like NORCECAs are expensive. They don't pay out well. They're generally terrible tournaments to go to. Like they're run really bad. You never know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And so guys just won't go. So like the first one that I went to in Martinique, which I think Ivan was there.
It was where I met you.
Were you there?
Yeah.
In Martinique? Okay.
Yeah.
And
that was the one that the beach flooded, right? So the beach flooded where like the venue was supposed to be, and then it got moved to a Club Med.
Yeah.
And then they had to like cut down a tree.
We were in like the middle of a forest. Yeah. So that, listeners, is what NORCECA is like. Just like random stuff like that. I didn't know why we were there. I didn't know the beach flooded.
So they were like that. So that's why we were playing inland. Was because like the tide had rose and it was all messed up.
Okay.
So like the facilities got a lot better because obviously like staying at Club Med. Like,
I was like, this is a NORCECA. This is amazing.
That was my first NORCECA too. So I rocked up. I was like, this is the best.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this accommodation's unreal. And then, but then walking over to the courts and watching them like cut down a tree to like put the courts up was like, okay. Like,
it was amazing.
Sure. Good NORCECA stories.
Yeah. But so I didn't even have to qualify for that. Because Ben Vaught called me and he was like, "Hey, Brandon can't come. Can you sub in for him?"
Another lefty.
You love going lefty.
You guys love the lefty.
Yeah, my first international tournament was lefty.
There you go.
And
you guys came second there, yeah.
Yeah, we lost to. It was funny because we played Puerto Rico first round of pool and beat them, and then saw them in the finals and lost to them in the one that mattered.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happened to me in Mexico. I played the Mexican team that took a set off Anders and Christian. We beat them in pool play, lost in the finals.
So why do you think that is? That it's tough to beat the same team twice in a tournament? Because that's a common thing that happens.
It's a good question.
It happened just in Mexico as well. Italy beat Qatar, and then Qatar came back and beat them later. Like that's happened quite often actually.
Yeah, and then it was funny because we were setting up to do the same thing in Bonaire because we beat Rubio and Gacciola first round of pool. Which is a tough first round of pool.
That's a good win.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
And then we were setting up to play them just the way the bracket was working out to play them in the finals, and we lost 15-13 in the third to Chris Austin and Chris Johnson, who you guys saw in the Van Open.
Yep.
I was like, damn it, I would have loved another shot at them. I was like, I can't get 3 NORCECAs winning in pool, losing in the finals. It would have been tough.
That would have been that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why that happens though, because it is hard to beat a team 2 times, 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why, but it just kind of is.
I think it's like partially something to do with, in my opinion, like they have your number.
Yeah.
Because like we're all here thinking that we're gonna win and that we're better teams.
Yeah.
So you get beat, you get a chance of redemption. It's like, all right, like you're done.
Yeah.
But then the second thing I think as well too is about like tactical decision making, like changes.
Yeah.
So obviously with a loss, you probably might look at that game a little bit more critically, being like, oh, like these are the small things that we could have done. So unless like a team is like dominant, I think that's I think in my opinion that's just one of the things at play.
Yeah, and it was crazy because in Mexico, we really shouldn't have won that pool play match because we were way behind. So have you guys played the La Paz?
Yeah, I did. I played in La Paz.
It's awesome.
Beautiful.
Like
and
one
that's
of the
what, that
coolest
is what I'll
ones.
say about the NORCECA is it has gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Like as it goes along, like our Dragic actually took it over, like kind of has taken it over some of the directing to it. And
Okay.
So the past few years it has improved a lot, I would say. I think, and the level too. You get these Nicaraguan, Guatemala.
It's getting good.
The sport itself is improving in a lot of these countries. So I think that was cool. But sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, well, the La Paz one's awesome because that town like shuts down for that event. You get like thousands of fans. There's like an opening ceremony. it's like you feel like you're playing a really professional tournament.
Oh, they love it.
But so the opening ceremony, we were told like delayed the matches by a couple hours, and we're like, okay, cool, like we'll just hang out. And then we were like sitting in the tent, and we were hearing these like USA, Team USA, like you're up. You're like, oh man, like we were just told we were gonna play 2 hours from now, and so we like run over, didn't warm up for 1 minute. And just like stepped onto like stadium court like 9:00 at night against the top seeded Mexican team.
Yeah.
And we ended up beating them in a 3 in like a really fun match.
That's a big win. That's a good team.
Yeah. It was funny because we were down 8-4 in the third, and I was playing with Kyle Friend, and he scored 8 straight points by himself.
Wow.
We went from down 8-4 to up 12-8. And I didn't do anything.
Just walk
It was awesome.
Well, it just kind of shows you how good American volleyball and how deep it is just from the AVP and everything. Though, like that team there literally got a second in a 4-star at Doha. Like that's a legit team that he's talking about right there. So that's a big win, man.
And like we were talking about it at dinner, one of the most admirable things about the American players is how much you guys believe in yourselves.
Yeah.
Like can it be to a fault? Like if it is, you guys do it. But if not, you ride it well. But no.
Yeah, because like what other choice do you have?
Yeah, no.
Like if you don't, like we're not out.
If you don't,
in this 1-star.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
But if you don't, why are you here?
Yeah. But where do you guys stand like in the Canadian rankings? Because I feel like I've seen both your names like for a while. I think this is the first tournament I ever played like with you guys as a team. But you've been like knocking on the door for a while.
Yeah, so it's been pretty interesting. I would say we're like in terms of FIVB points, we're probably we are anywhere between like we're usually flipping between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we've consistently been. We've had really great games and we've had big wins against like top Canadian teams, but we've never been able to like kind of pass them in points like your Sam and Sam, Ben and Grant and Nesbaum and Platinga have been like kind of third for a bit, and we've been close in points with Platinga and Nesbaum for a bit, and we had a few at home. We've had a few good wins over them, and they unfortunately just took us out in Mexico. They played a really good game, but that's kind of where we sit is in the 3, 4, 5 range, and then on points 4, 5 range.
Yeah. So it's not enough to win at home.
Yeah.
You gotta bring your game on the road, and not something that we've really mastered yet. Always like you always kind of run into something at a tournament. That's a beautiful thing that I think is so important in this sport too. Is that like you have to go in, and Norseca teaches you that.
Oh yeah.
Like things are not gonna go right. Like
No.
so you go like our technical director always says that. It's like so you go to Norseca and you learn that this tournament is going to be a nightmare in at least a couple ways. So how you gonna deal with it?
Yeah.
So just for whatever reasons, always I don't feel we've ever lost matches for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Always kind of like something will always go a different way, but we gotta just get better at taking our game on the road.
Yeah. And I think to be fair to us as well, we started playing very, very well. And then Will broke his foot, so I actually had to go and play Norseca's. That's when I played Norseca's with Liam.
Okay.
And we picked up a third when we played, I think it was Bogan Joyner. And then picked up a second with Simone Fecta-Boutin.
Nice.
We actually played Kame. And,
he's good.
Yeah.
I don't see him play too much, but...
He's a full-time teacher as well, so he's kind of one of our veteran ballers out there. And... and then we lost to Kame and Case Bear in the finals. That was really fun, exciting. A lot of testosterone in that game. And then so that was good, really good team. They played great. Kame's amazing player. And then and then we kind of Will was coming back. We were getting really jacked up, and then he had to unfortunately get shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
So we got to go and play 2 tournaments right before the FIVB got canceled. We went and played a tournament in New Zealand where we put together a third on their national tour. And then we played like the pre-FIVB in Australia. There was going to be a 3-star in Australia. It got canceled. But tons of good teams.
Brutal.
And we actually got a third there. So we were playing really, really good volleyball. And we beat Matral and Hausner.
Nice.
We had some pretty good results.
They're having a good stretch.
Mexico, good stretch. Played some really good volleyball, beat some really good Aussie teams, and so I just feel like we're just kind of waiting for our big breakout, and then we're really excited to kind of be here and start the grind all over again after taking a 1.5 pause button. And that's kind of for everybody though. But just excited to be able to compete again.
That's some serious adversity, Will. You have foot, shoulder?
Yeah.
COVID?
Foot, shoulder, COVID.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then so like kind of at the beginning of my career, so I started, that U19 was in 2012.
Yeah.
And then I always considered myself a beach player, but I'd go back to indoor at university.
Yeah.
And then 2-3 years I ended up doing my knee. So I missed 3 beach seasons. So that was a big thing, like kind of tough because like we always like we had our young kind of like provincial team group who came up, like so Jake, myself, Sergey, Gabe, Liam. Those kind of guys, like we all trained together a bunch, like growing up, and then I was just on the sidelines watching all them like get better, get matches, get experience for 3 years.
So tough.
So it was, and like missed a lot of like I said, meaningful matches, and just like learning those things. So I've definitely had my fair share of injuries, yeah, but it always gives you a new appreciation for the sport when you come back, and I still keep coming back.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else I'd rather be doing at the moment.
Well, how's your body feeling now?
Feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shoulder rehab was interesting, because like I didn't have any, like there was no pain, so I didn't realize my shoulder was as messed up as it was.
Yeah.
But I was advised by my doctors to get it fixed. So like not just like walking into surgery and like being fine and then like coming out and you can't move your arm for 2 months. Like
Jeez.
awesome, sweet. And that was tough too, because like in my mind I was like, okay, like fine, my shoulder's all wrapped up. Like I'm gonna work out, like jack up my legs, get my vertical going, like, do a bunch of agility work, and then kind of found out afterwards, like as like starting into recovery, when like I'm pushing my strength coaches, being like, hey, like what can I do?
Yeah.
Like, give me something. I'm going nuts. And they're just like, yeah, like you can't do anything. Like you can't run, you can't jump, you can't. Like I'd go to the school by my house and just like mash balls lefty at a wall.
Yeah.
And then like just like in my own, like just put music on just in my own head. At one point I just like turned around, picked up the ball and punted it as hard as I could, and my shoulder lit up. I was like, I can't even kick a volleyball. Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah.
But once again, here now and no place I'd rather be.
Yeah, and you guys are you're going to be in that place for a long time. So you started in Cancun, 2 weeks in Florida, week in Bulgaria, and then where are you going after this?
We don't know.
That's a good question.
Once again, as this is recorded, we are not sure where we're going next.
Road dogs, I love it.
We'll be somewhere. Yes,
we have currently no exit flight. When we rocked up to the country, they were just like, "You have your exit flight?" We're like, "Yeah, no problem." So either we'll stay here and wait out till the next one.
Okay.
Or we've sent a message to the AVP, see if we can get to that AVP next in Louisiana.
In New Orleans. Okay.
In which case we'd rip back to Florida and go back to train with LT Truman and B Volley. They hosted us for 2 weeks. It was great work.
Yeah.
Really learned a lot and developed our game there. Or potentially just head back home, which isn't
be an absolute heartbreaker.
Yeah, isn't the ideal situation.
Because it's not. Canada's quite locked down right now. We're practicing inside. It's like 30 degrees outside there right now, and I'm getting messages that they're still inside training at Downsview, which is our like indoor facility, beautiful facility. Again, when you're in the winter and there's nowhere else you can go, it's one thing to kind of motivate yourself to train in there, but when it's 30 degrees outside and you easily could be...
For American listeners,
not
Fahrenheit.
Yeah. No, this is like 90, 95 degrees.
This is nice weather.
This is nice weather we're talking. Sorry.
I like this. Yeah.
We're just like, they're just still training inside. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And that's why we're kind of a little bit even. I mean, beach volleyball, you have to kind of be able to roll with the punches. Yeah. So it says, because, you're never on as much of a fixated schedule as maybe you would like but this is even more extreme just because with COVID it's become even more a like thing, like we're already traveling, we're already, you know, alone in these countries, and then to throw on top of it now it's, hey, do you have your COVID test? Hey, make sure you're negative. Oh, if you test positive, you're gonna be stuck.
Sticker?
You have your pink sticker. Like,
is it on the left or the right side of the car? Yeah. That's important. Yeah.
Did you have your test 72 hours ago, or was it 84? Because it was 80. Yeah, when it was 84. Man, you might as well just go home now because you ain't playing. Like, it's bizarre, man.
Yeah.
You guys have some obstacles because Brandy was in Hermosa, but she was saying that you can't come back from Europe or South America into the U.S. if you don't have an American passport.
So there's
Is that a real thing?
There's some countries. So like Brazil's had a tough time with the pandemic. So you can, as a non-American, you cannot enter the U.S. from Brazil.
From Brazil. Okay.
So Brandy would have been able to go back, but Heather would have not been able to.
Okay.
So that's why like Cancun was fortunate for them that they were out of Brazil for 2.5, 3 weeks.
Okay.
And it was just like, sweet, no problem. Rip over to the U.S., have a training camp, and then go try and win some tournaments out in Europe.
In Europe that are the same though, that you can't. I know we had a friend that was staying near LT, and he was in Germany, and he had to wait 2 weeks before he was allowed to go from Germany to U.S. So it is a thing. I think that Bulgaria is not on that list from what I understand though, so we should be able to.
There's no COVID here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, gosh, owner was cracking me up.
Yeah.
He was like, I get the vaccine, then I get the corona.
What do you want me to do?
But that's I mean, it's tough for anyone to travel, but I feel like the Canadians, you guys have it tough to just figure out a schedule, because then you were originally going to go to Prague, the 2-star, which is right after this 1-star, which is what me and Adam were planning on doing. But because you guys couldn't go back to Canada, you couldn't get your visas for Sochi.
We couldn't get our Russian visas in time. And because we were going to have to send our passports back to our federation, and they were being great about, you know, we'll go and get it for you and everything, which was awesome, but they didn't realize that we needed our passports back before coming to Sofia, so it came down to kind of us having to kind of choose between, you know, the two, and not knowing where we were going to be on the list, and, you know, what kind of other obstacles there were going to be. Made it an interesting. But yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. That's the beach volleyball life. I mean,
As you were saying, like for us North Americans, like Cancun was a treat because it's a 3-hour flight,
close,
or 4, whatever, a couple flights. But like you're in the same time zone pretty much. Not really too crazy a travel day, and not that expensive. Whereas most other times you leave for a month or two, or you get on the road, and then you're bouncing around different spots. And with you guys, like you guys have a lot of tournaments at home. So it's just like if you're not playing a stretch of the international calendar, it's like, okay, like I can either go play AVPs, AVP Next, CBVAs, and. So you can still get a bunch of matches in, whereas back home we just don't have that list of events. Like there's a few highlights throughout the year. Like Quebec runs a couple good tournaments. Vancouver Open is obviously a highlight in my opinion for any beach volleyball player.
Anybody in the States. I know Riley and Madison did a video on Vancouver Open.
They loved it.
They did a great job.
Everybody that's come down from America, they're doing an amazing job out there. I don't know when it'll be back, unfortunately, because of COVID, but when it does, if you're a beach volleyball player and you love beach volleyball, it's an unbelievable place to play. The community there is unbelievable. The people that run it are incredible. Even just the locals, you know, on the mics are hilarious. And the whole thing is just an unbelievable experience. So, we love to see a few more top American teams come over. And even, you know, like we talked about earlier, so many good American teams that we'd love to see some down there. And
the Van Open, it's a bucket lister on a lot of people's lists. It's kind of like right up there with like a Seaside, a Wapaka. What have you guys played of like those big ones? I know you mentioned Seaside.
Yeah, Seaside and the Atlantic City Big Shots.
Big Shots. Yeah.
I've played Pottstown, which was a lot of fun. The little grass action.
You're probably nasty on grass.
It was fun. Yeah, we had a good run. We lost to Chase Buddinger's brother Duncan and some Brazilian guy.
Good team.
Yeah, it was a good team, but we had a good run. It was we either got 5th or we lost in the semi, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of games. I don't know if my body was functioning the next few days, but I've always loved those those tournaments in the States. It's just such good volleyball. It's just so many good players like we talked about, and good money. And,
yeah, Pottstown is, I think it's 2 weeks before Stade this year. $70,000.
Wow.
Prize money.
Yeah.
It's quite the purse.
I was like, huh. Well, grass, it's going to bang me up, but that's a lot. That's an AVP.
A lot of dough, baby.
It's an AVP's worth of prize money for grass.
So are you going to play Stade?
We're signed up, and what we're thinking is that we'll probably get in, because I don't think that Phil and Nick will travel for one more tournament than needed.
No.
And we only need one team not to play for me and Adam to get into the country quota, which is how we got into Sochi.
Right.
And actually, Bill Kalinsky just dropped out of Sochi.
Oh yeah.
So now we just have to play one in the country quota instead of two, which is nice. But yeah, so we're thinking that because Casey Patterson, he's dinged up, so he's not signing up for tournaments, and Kalinsky's dinged up, so he's not signing up, and we don't think Phil and Nick will travel. And I'm hoping, since it's after the Olympic qualification period, that either Jake and Taylor might be like, well, let's just rest up, or Try and Trevor, like if they don't make it, they're like, we're pretty bummed.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll just be the only one. Speak into existence.
Well, you always scroll to the, as you're going through the qualification list or entry list, you scroll to the bottom and you're going to see at least 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 American teams. Yeah. You guys are, well, I mean, at the same time, for good reason. Like, you guys, having those 3, 4 teams at the top of tournaments, it's just like, okay, like,
how am I going to get in? All of a sudden we're in Bulgaria, baby. Let's go.
That's it.
So just like you got to take the chances on those. So I'll doubt that you'll be the only one, but
we definitely won't be the only one. But I think we'll at least be country quota.
Yes.
Which at this point,
have you been to Switzerland?
No.
Oh,
and everyone,
so beautiful,
literally
man.
everyone
so
we've had
there.
on this podcast, it's like, what's your favorite tournament? And it's an immediate Stade. Yeah. It's unanimous.
Yeah, I've never been to Stade, but I've been to Switzerland twice now, and man, it was unbelievable there. Eh?
I've heard it's beautiful.
So beautiful.
So, are you guys signed up for that one?
We're not.
We're not yet. We haven't looked at the late part of after the Olympics. We haven't even thought about those ones yet. But I mean, it's definitely a bucket lister. It seems pretty incredible, and like you're saying, so if we get enough points and we get the opportunity, I think we would love to do it. I think Switzerland's probably my second or third favorite spot I've ever played. So, yeah.
Because this is the first year that I've ever had an actual just a steady partner. Because me and Adam, we got that third in the Cook Islands, and we were just looking at the international points. We were like, well, me and you are kind of, there's a certain tier, and then me and Adam were kind of the highest of the next tier. We're like, well, we don't know anything that the AVP is doing, so we're the best bet to play internationally. Mm-hmm. And so we just we signed up for every single tournament as soon as the registration list came out, and we were like, let's just run it all.
Just run it, baby. Let's go. That's sick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, and we're hearing that there won't be an AVP until after the Olympics anyway. So we're like, all right, well, this
is your time.
Punch that passport.
See what happens. Yeah.
So how did you prepare? So obviously the last year has been wacky. So but at the same time, I was most curious coming out of the pandemic to see what changes teams made to their games.
Yeah.
Because you have a year of maybe some guys took some time off, respect the family, respect the body, take care of the other important parts of your life.
Yeah.
But curious to see how many people were going to make adjustments in their game.
Yeah.
So what did you use that time to do things like that, or was there things you wanted to work on?
Yeah. California was not all that different from Canada for a while, and that we were really locked down. Mm-hmm. So we had literally a standing army in Hermosa Beach. Every public beach access had 2 cops standing by it, and they're like, you can't go on the beach. So me and Delaney, we just learned how to backpack. We went backpacking every other weekend. Sweet. 3 or 4 days at a time, and but once the beaches were back open, and then we also have our own little kind of outdoor area where we built a gym, and so we just lifted a ton, got outside a bunch, peppered all the time, went to the park and just got a bunch of touches, and then as soon as the beaches were open again, we just started training all the time, and everybody else was just sitting out because everybody's well, we don't know what events we have. And me and Delaney were well, we're looking to work our way up, so we might as well just make these jumps while everyone else is sitting out. So we trained all the time, and she's still just kind of waiting for her shot. But yeah, so we just trained a ton, and Adam he's always rearing to go.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude, man.
Yeah, 45 going on 32.
Just incredible.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get.
He's trying to get in right now?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I gotta pee so bad.
Well, we'll wrap it up in a minute. So you guys, we start the qualifier tomorrow. We still don't know where we're seated, but we got our pink sticker, so we're good to go.
Yeah, we got the A-OK. We're gonna be playing.
Yeah.
Who knows against who or how many games or how many rounds, but we'll be in there.
It's supposed to be good and rainy for us tomorrow. We have this like picture perfect day, and then tomorrow's supposed to be like 50 and rainy. So, but that's beach. That's
life.
it.
That's life.
Playing outside.
Yeah, when I go into packing a bag for Cancun in Florida, I didn't think I'd need some tights, but I'm happy I threw some in there.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
You're a veteran now, Will.
You learn a thing or two.
Yeah. Well, boys, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate good training the last couple days, and I appreciate you boys coming on. And
Thanks so much for having us.
We'll see you boys in the finals.
Let's go
now.